Alright, boys and girls, the wait is finally over. We now have early access to Darkest Dungeon 2, and I'm going to give you my best spoiler-free review.
A nebulous nightmare.
Let's jump into it.
An apocalypse that only we can oppose.
The Ancestor is back. Same voice actor. I would have uninstalled right away if we did not get his wonderful voice acting skills in the sequel. So here's the setup. A little bit different from the original. This time, the Eldritch stuff, it's everywhere.
My protege. My friend.
Yep, world's a mess.
Our calculations were correct.
So,
The ephemeral
long
equation
story
is
short, the world is a gigantic mess. Everything's turned into an Eldritch, Lovecraftian nightmare. And we've got to venture to some giant mountain carrying the flame to stop it.
free yourself
Yeah.
from this
So, we're going to have a
suffocating
completely different style game.
gaze on the horizon.
Alright, so like any good roguelike game,
Learn from each attempt.
You're-
Deepen your understanding.
And victory will come.
thank you, Ancestor. Like any good roguelike, you're going to unlock things that are going to help you in your next playthrough each time you fail. Now, Darkest Dungeon 2 plays quite differently from the original, but a lot of it's going to feel really familiar. First of all, we've gone from 2D to 3D, and I gotta say, it works. The art style is exactly like it was in the first one, except three-dimensional. And it still retains that cool comic book feel. You're going to start out on a quest, you're going to pick your heroes, you're going to get a bunch of supplies from the Ancestor, from the Academic, and you're going to take off in more of an FTL style situation where it's kind of like Oregon Trail meets Darkest Dungeon, where you're going to have a caravan or a wagon with some guys, and you're going to have to go off taking different nodes and maps as you go. So you got two items you can equip. You got battle items, which you can use, and you've got trinkets, which are going to give you bonuses. Battle items are going to not cost you an action point in combat, which can be really handy, especially anyone who's played Darkest Dungeon. Okay, so there are quite a few differences, though, from the original, but enough that's familiar that you're going to feel very at home. One of the big systems in this game is not only is there stress, but you have relationships. You run into different encounters, and you're going to have to make choices. Choices that result in gold reactions means those characters are improving the relationship. Blue reactions means their relationship is deteriorating. So you can build friendships, but you can also build up enemies within your party, and how you manage that is going to be a big part of the game. You're also going to feel much like you're in FTL or mini modern roguelikes, where you're going to get to nodes on a map, you're going to have choices to make as you make your way towards the end goal. Now, combat is going to feel familiar in a lot of ways. Skills are kept much the same, and all of the characters you're seeing here are familiar. You can choose 4 characters, they can do different abilities depending on what rank they're set up in. However, combat is meant to be shorter. The game encourages you to finish everything up within 5 rounds. Also, there's a much less focus on healing. You're not able to heal as much, and you can see right there, we've racked up some negative relationship points. You can also choose to continue further attacking in certain situations, or you can escape back to your caravan and continue on down the map. Also, certain nodes are going to unlock character backstory. Don't worry, we're going to skip any spoilers, but all you really need to know is you can choose which character's story you want to progress, and that is going to give them ability upgrades. Also, another big change from combat is you can no longer miss. Well, you can under certain situations, but there's no hit percentage. So, combat has changed quite a bit in that regard. Here you can see we've unlocked a skill for the Gravedigger. We can go in and equip that. But one of the things you're going to notice constantly is relationships.
Is it not?
Your characters are fighting all the time. It's not called Happy Rainbow Dungeon for a reason. I've had very few positive relations with my characters and a lot of fighting. Another issue is you will be carrying the flame. As your flame dies down, it's going to get darker, enemies are going to get buffs, you're going to get debuffs. It's hard to keep the flame up, but certain encounters will let you build your flame back up. Now, just like in the original, your characters are going to get stressed out, which is going to cause them to have meltdowns. Meltdowns can test relationships, which can get you these bad negative relationship debuffs, and there's a number of them. My biggest complaint was the amount of time that text spent on the screen in the middle of battle every time this happened. Surely there's a way in the options menu to speed that up, because you spend a lot of time looking at those cutscenes. But overall, I really dig the art style. I dig the way they morphed the 2D into the 3D. It runs a lot slower on my rig, I will tell you that. One other change is that the enemies also can get the death blow effect, meaning that when you die, you're at death's door, and you have a chance to roll and not die. In this particular run, our Gravedigger and Man-at-Arms probably got hit 10 times each when they were at death's door before they actually died. So I'm not sure what's going on the RNG side right there, but remember, it is in early access. But the question I want to answer for you guys is it worth $29.99, which is about what you're going to pay, and you can only get it right now in the Epic Games Store? Is it as good as the original? I'm going to say right now, as somebody who played all the way through the original, one of the only games I ever mastered, it absolutely feels like a beautiful sequel. It's changed in meaningful ways, and it's kept the things from Darkest Dungeon, the first one, that work. It's kept the art style, it's kept the combat with a few tweaks. Thank you, Ancestor. And of course, it's kept the Ancestor and the voice acting.
Learn from each attempt.
And like I said, like any good roguelike, you're going to have to give it another go. And as you go, you're going to unlock new abilities, new characters, and new items that are going to help you on your way traversing through whatever eldritch nightmare that you decided to take on that day. Guys, if you found this review helpful, I try not to waste your time, I try to be honest, please hit that like button. And if you want to, somewhere buried on my channel is an entire playthrough in Darkest Dungeon, but that was a long time ago, and my audio quality is pretty terrible. Do hope to see you for more Darkest Dungeon 2 videos. Mr. G, out.